Hi, everyone. Welcome. Okay, we're going to get it kicked off. So let's take a look at this month's forecast feature. This month, we focused on doing a benchmark study. So this is kind of a fun one. This is just a forecast feature to sit back and enjoy, like story time. It's almost the holidays. Everyone kick back and relax. We really wanted to sort of end the year on doing a bit of a skim of what has been happening in the world. We specifically looked at social clubs, retail, hotels, and multifamily. So that is what you're in for on a little benchmark report today. We really wanted to dive into this because it helps to inform so much of design. We wanted to highlight people in the industry who are just out there doing an amazing job, have beautiful projects that people are loving, looking at things that are, of course, focused on incredible design, absolutely focused on storytelling. We have a few sustainability stories here, definitely creative event programming. We're going to look at a little bit of co-living, of course, branding, and some really cool amenity offerings. So let's take a look at some of these placemaking opportunities here. All right, first section is social clubs. So we're going to kick it off with the Newport. This project is in Sydney in New South Wales in Australia. And we really focused on looking at them for their placemaking and the way that they have designed their sort of outdoor rooms. So you can see from some of these images that we've pulled here, these spaces just feel so vibrant. It really does seem like kind of the epitome, at least to me, of outdoor rooms. You've got the activated water areas, of course, the event stage. You can see that it's family friendly. We've got kids, we've got dogs. And I just love how vibrant this space is. Another thing that makes this project really notable is that they have this place programmed from morning to night. So you can go here in the morning for coffee, breakfast, take your dog for a walk. You can go there all day long, lunch, cocktails, just to hang out. And then it's totally activated in the evening with live performances, dinner, drinks. And so I think that's what makes this space especially vibrant. And then they're also really geared toward people of all ages, kind of across all walks of life. They sort of span all demographics. You can see here that this programming is something that's appealing to people in so many different phases of life, so many different ages, people with kids, people without kids, people with dogs. So love that about the Newport, and just really kind of keen in on their placemaking and the way that they have these sort of outdoor rooms. Our second social club that we're looking at today is Birdies. This is actually a brand new social club that just opened in Fort Worth in Texas. And so you can see from this page here in these images, their branding is just so much fun. This space is just playful, inviting, like who wouldn't want to go hang out here? So we really wanted to highlight them for their sense of play, but also check out their branding. It's just like so good, even their logo here. Lots of photo opportunities as well. Here's some more images on the second page, but the whole concept here is supposed to be very casual. Again, this is outside, so mostly open air, although they do have a lot of indoor-outdoor opportunities, including they have this outdoor stage, but they also have an indoor one. So they're having entertainment. I think it's kind of cool. They're drawing inspiration from the spirit of Route 66 country clubs and Palm Springs. And I feel like when you look at these images, that definitely comes through. And again, they're open for lunch, dinner, weekend brunch, so activated for most of the day, and maybe this will change as they sort of establish themselves more. But this place is also family friendly, which we thought was interesting. So until 10 p.m., anybody's welcome, people of all ages. After 10, it becomes kind of like adults only, turns a little bit more into a bar setting. So I thought that was cool, a nice way to engage families as well. Then we're going to get a little more exclusive into the social clubs that feel a little more exclusive. Number one is Hymet, and this is in LA. We focused on them for sort of this social wellness and design. They're a wellness social club, so kind of in this fitness wellness world. And you can see from this page that their focus on interior design is just like, that is what you notice first off, even if you're not a designer, even if you're not in that industry, you walk into the space and you learn that interior design is a thing. Love a little bit of their branding here, but their name Heimat is a German word used to describe that familiar feeling of when your heart feels at home. So I thought that was kind of nice, a little bit of the branding. Here are some more images. So you can see that they definitely lead with design, and it is also definitely a luxe experience. So what they have going on in here is, of course, fitness equipment, spa, pool. They also have co-working space and a restaurant. Their restaurant has a chef who's from a Michelin star restaurant. So definitely going for upscale luxury experience here. They're sort of answering that question of when you're working from home or you're traveling a lot, where do you go to socialize? Where do you go to meet people? You're doing everything you need to do at home, but maybe you need to leave the house to work out or get your spa fix or eat. And so you go to do all that, and then, oh, it's so convenient. You can socialize with people at the same time. So that's kind of their vibe. They also have just a few things that we wanted to call out. Their locker rooms have saunas lined with Himalayan salt, which is kind of a nice way to combine those two wellness amenities. And they have a living room space, which is sort of like a hangout, co-work, social area. And it's designed to look like a 1960s living room, and everything in the space has been thrifted and kind of like curated for this authentic 60s feel. One thing that just a general statement to call out from all the research from this whole report is so many of these spaces said something similar to, we wanted the space to look like items in it were collected over time so that it looks like a home, it feels like a home where you're slowly bringing things in over time. So many of the projects we're highlighting today really called that out as part of their design process, part of their branding, and this is definitely one of them. Next, we'll look at Until. This is a co-work fitness social club. This is in London. And what we really wanted to point out here is they consider themselves the world's first members club and workspace for personal trainers, coaches, treatment, and wellness professionals. So not only do they have these wellness and fitness spaces for people to go work out, have a trainer or a coach of some kind, but they have co-working spaces where these trainers and coaches can work on the back end part of their business. So answering emails, creating content. They have anything you would need for that. They've got the podcast rooms, the private booths for phone calls. And so they're really focusing on having this space for their trainers to work. And we wanted to call that out because we've been hearing that in our multifamily industry that hiring leasing staff and retaining them has been a challenge over the past, well, kind of forever, but especially notably recently. And so we've been just brainstorming sort of like in the back of our minds on ways to create amenities that can maybe even be used by this leasing staff that they would want to use alongside the residents in the community. And so maybe modeling part of that off of the way that Until is doing that for their trainers might be something interesting and something to look into a bit further. Here we have the Reading Club. This is in San Diego and beautifully designed. Absolutely. We wanted to highlight them for their sort of exclusivity. They have rules here. So you can't have no laptop after 5 p.m., no taking pictures or sharing images of the space on social media at all. So very interesting and kind of gives it that like exclusive, really kind of like old school private club feel. But thought that was interesting to call out, especially in this age of social media and everything being accessible online. All right, let's look at retail. So first up is Platform. This is a retail destination, and we kind of love their branding here, so I'll read it off, but they're saying, we are a platform for independent brands. We are deeply rooted to Los Angeles that have a global wandering eye. And they're located in Culver City in LA. And we love the way that they sort of approached placemaking. They're actually located underneath a raised train platform. So they created this whole destination in an area that would otherwise be maybe kind of like industrial or maybe even like a little sketchy, like under the tracks, but they've created this beautiful landscape, kind of like lush retail experience. And we also love the sentiment of being this platform for independent retail. and creative businesses. So they're having these smaller, kind of more local vibe brands happening. Also, this is a little screenshot from their website, but love their branding on their website. Also, of course, they're working with local artists about this cool mural happening. Next, we have the camp. So similar situation. This is in Orange County, and love this retail destination's approach to branding, placemaking, and kind of like local authenticity as well. We thought this was a cool feature. These mailboxes actually hold all of the menus for all the restaurants that are at the camp. So each is labeled with the restaurant name. You can open the mailbox, check out the menu. I thought that was kind of an interactive art, cool way to share that information. And loving some more of their imagery here. They've got this cool inspirational art stair. This is a pop-up slime bar, which we thought was cool, kind of like way to cater to the kids. They have a lot of active and wellness brands and shops here as well. Their whole kind of vibe is that they're an eco-friendly retail campus, and they're dedicated to promoting this sort of active, healthy lifestyle and be supportive of the local community while they are doing it. And something from their website we wanted to call out was they say that people, businesses, and communities are strongest when there is ample opportunity to connect with one another, whether that's communing over great food, sharing ideas, talents, or knowledge, or participating in unique activations. And that kind of sums up what you see on the stage. Okay, let's look at some hotels. First up is Salina Union Market. And we really highlighted them for the way that they cater to digital nomads, their programming that they have, and their co-work program. Salina Union Market is it is in Washington, D.C., and it's the brand's flagship U.S. property. Salina actually has a portfolio of over 155 hotels, but only 7 of them are in the U.S. So maybe those of us on this call may not be as familiar with the brand, but they're really geared toward kind of this like millennial, Gen Z, digital nomad, modern traveler group. And specifically this location, which just opened, they're kind of calling their U.S. flagship. So Salina Union Market. And it was in a space that used to be a seed factory and an antique shop. So you can see some of those kind of like callbacks in the design. And this hotel specifically has 106 rooms. They have different accommodations. So they've got suites, they have standard rooms, they have micro bedrooms, which are more of like a shared style, kind of like hostel bunk bed kind of situation. And then they've got a ton of co-working spaces, meeting rooms, restaurants. They have artist studios, communal kitchen, wellness studio. They even have a downstairs dancing cellar and a rooftop space, so it can kind of turn into a bit of a party if they need to, and lots of programming, which we thought was worth calling out. So they've got screen printing demonstrations, concerts, in-house DJ, lots of wellness programming, which is also a common thread that we've seen here. And this is something we've been tracking and reporting on, but we're definitely seeing this wellness programming kind of permeating through. Next up is Capford. Many on this call may be familiar. They're in Denver, but we really love their guest room design, amenities, and their brand design. This is kind of cool. You can take a plant when you check in. You can take a plant up to your room as like a little plant buddy to keep you company. And they have a bunch of co-working sort of perches carved out. So you can see here they have just like a perch. It's not super comfortable to sit all day and work like this, but they have the ring light to take a call, kind of similar situation here. They were actually awarded the 2022 Indie Award for Most Innovative Hotel Design, and they sort of blur that line between being an extended stay hotel and a house. They have 165 guest rooms, and they actually feature this patent pending design where you've got these lofted beds and then this like multifunctional furniture around. One thing I thought was cool is that the way that they get around the TV in the room situation is that they have projectors, and this projector screens actually pull down over the exterior window. So they're able to use that space really, really well. And the guest rooms do have full kitchens. They have essential like basic cookware, and they also have a water flowing station on each floor, which is really nice. The hotel is part adaptive reuse. They have a 2,500 square foot historic home that they've incorporated as part of the hotel. They also have gear storage, or gear lockers, excuse me. So they've got bikes and skateboards and cameras and stuff that guests can borrow and they can check out. So really think that this is cool. Definitely check out their guest room design and swing by if you're in Denver. Hotel Stages is a hotel in Bali, and we really loved the way that they approached sort of like this retail aspect of their brand and their hotel. We wanted to include a few screenshots from their website too, but you can see that they actually link you from their hotel website to their retail website where you can purchase original artwork, prints, pots, and apparel. And really, we're just so inspired by the way that they do their branding and have this sort of little side retail happening off of their hotel brand. It's definitely a boutique hotel. They only have 9 guest rooms. They're really beautifully designed. They have features from local artisans, and their public spaces also include, of course, they have the pool and a restaurant. They also have an art gallery, and they actually began as an art studio. So they've definitely carried that spirit forward, which we think is really cool. Okay, one more hotel here. We're at Lifehouse in the Berkshires. We love their branding too, a writer's mountain retreat with a cocktail bar and library lounge inspired by the seasonal landscape. We were especially inspired because this is a renovation project. This whole space used to be a Days Inn. So it kind of had that hardcore like motel vibe, but they've made it really feel luxe and designed and have a lot of story. Things that we want to call out here is they've focused on blurring the indoor and outdoor space. So they have an outdoor patio, fire pit. The guest rooms are all exterior facing, like you can imagine a old school Days Inn is typically set up, but they really took that and played with it to make that indoor outdoor connectivity a key part of their design and their story, which we thought was a really smart way to take what was existing and spin it into something new. Okay, let's take a look at multifamily. I'm excited to share a few of these finds with you all. Number 1 here is Wembley Arc. This is in London, and this is a co-working multifamily situation that we were just so inspired by. This is new. They've just opened this past year, so we wanted to really see what they're doing with branding, how they're handling co-living, and want to point out on this page, we do love their branding. Their arc, kind of like this arc like a boat. You can even see that sort of reflected here. This is also just to point out that you can stay for a few nights or move in for 4 months. So their leases actually, you can do a short stay of a minimum of 2 nights, or you can have a 12-month lease. And so these are some of the amenity spaces. Just want to have you take a look. And then we'll get into the unit design. So they're a co-living live-work concept. That is kind of how they brand themselves. And they opened just so recently in late 2022. So they're really just open. So we'll be excited to keep an eye on them and see how they lease up and see what's happening. Keep an eye on them over social media. The project is 300 units. They're all furnished. And like I said before, they're available from 2 nights to 12 months. So these are flexible, furnished, and they're again really going after this digital nomad market. You can see here the units are small, so they're certainly focused on the amenity spaces, which are really focused on co-work and community building. If you've got these digital nomads, you want people to be able to mingle and meet each other, and that's often what they're looking for when living in this type of space. So they're definitely focused on that in the amenity spaces. The interior spaces are designed to give a sense of this lived-in space that feels like home. So again, we're echoing that concept again. And they even say it directly, furnishings give the feel that they've been collected over time. And this is just something that's been echoed across so many of the projects that we researched. And we really love that sentiment too. Their communal spaces include a communal kitchen, dining area, lounge, multimedia room. They've got a spin studio, laundry room, yoga and wellness space, fitness center, and then of course, co-working with the private meeting rooms and focus booths. And they have outdoor space as well, roof terrace and a garden. Residents can actually reserve their own little garden plot and work at space. And then they call their guests guest rooms slash units, since it kind of functions as sort of a short stay hotel and a multifamily. They call them studios, and they're fully furnished, and they really focus on building in storage. So they do include a table, which you can see here, a corner sofa. They do have a kitchenette, and then a double bed. And we just had to call out as well that we loved their website branding, and it's inviting, it's easy to navigate. You can definitely see what you are getting here. This is Good Luck Hope. They're also in London, and we wanted to especially call them out because they were named British Home Awards as the development of the year. And we love the design. So you can see that it's sort of industrial. It's celebrating the history of the space that it's in. And the amenity spaces, we thought this was really cool. They're modeled off of a private members club, and they're branded as the 1595 Club. So they have the amenity spaces called the workhouse, which is co-working, the courtyard, that's what they call their outdoor space. The water house is what they call their pool area. Sweat house is what they call their fitness center. The picture house is what they call their cinema room. And then they also have the lantern room, which is a shared work-life space for co-working and events. And then any residents here also get access to the City Island Arts Club, which is a separate entity that's local, right, like around the corner. And then there they have access to another like super intense fitness center and spa. But we just wanted to call out a few of these features. So you can see like this indoor pool is just beautifully designed. This is sort of their plan of their amenity spaces, which has each of these called out. So you can see the arrows pointing to the water house, the sweat house, all of that. But it really gives that feel of having this sort of like exclusive members club, which they sort of wrap up in their branding of the 1595 Club. So it has this sort of luxe vibe. Also just love this image of this courtyard. Blackbird Apartments in Washington, D.C. We wanted to call them out specifically for their ground floor, which actually is kind of just like a giant food hall. So these are some different views of those spaces. And it's basically a giant retail offering that's basically a food hall, and it's the whole entire ground floor. It's branded The Roost, which is kind of cute, called a Blackbird Apartment, and they've got that called The Roost. And they describe it as a culinary clubhouse, which is kind of cool. So this food hall as an amenity is their entire ground floor, and it's pretty diverse in what they offer. I'll rattle off a few of the things. They've got coffee and tea. They have retail through Shop Made in DC, which is what it's called, and they have local wares and goods, 50 beer tap, ice cream, they've got pizza, craft cocktails and wine, tacos, they have a butcher shop, they have sushi, they have an Italian restaurant, and all of these are from local brands in the DC area. So it's pretty cool. It definitely creates and adds to a lot of vibrancy here to live in this space. This is a little bit different than what we normally look at, but this project is called Nightingale 2, and this is in Australia as well. We wanted to focus on them for their sustainability story. So you can see it's just like this really beautiful kind of industrial with some lush greenery vibe happening. And then they consider themselves to be this organization, and this is a quote from their website, but that builds apartments for people, not profit. They are sustainability is their like foot forward. They're carbon neutral in their operation, strategically located near a railway station. So this project was planned from the ground up to have sustainability be its main story. They have their cross ventilation throughout the building, selection of materials, all energy efficient design, and they take it a little bit of a step further where they really have the community that's living here is sort of conscious of this as well. They're by this rail station, so people who live here may tend to use public transportation or bike more than car. They actually don't even have parking available. So you kind of already know if you're living here that you're maybe leaning toward more of that lifestyle. They want the community to have these opportunities to cook together and share stories, create these friendships. And the design of the building really allows for that. They want this engagement to be sort of pushed forward a bit by the design. But we thought it was just done really beautifully. And even just these small details like making sure the windows are operable and just having like, I love this window feature too, which I think is a beautiful detail. This is the Lockwood in Washington, D.C., and we really wanted to focus on and highlight their storytelling. You can see from these images that it just seems inviting and like you want to go in and explore and kind of find out what it's all about, which is definitely rich in this story. So we're located here in the Capitol Hill neighborhood, and the whole design is inspired by a historic woman named Belva Lockwood. She was a turn of the century Renaissance woman. She was the first woman to argue a case in front of the Supreme Court, first female law student at George Washington University, only woman to run for the presidency in 1884 and in 1888. So you can definitely see that the designers dug into her story, drew so much inspiration from her, and they named the Lockwood after her. She's Belva Lockwood, and really took these design elements from the time that she lived in and included them all here. So we love that. Some notable amenities to call out are they have a daily tea service, a conservancy that has a potting station, a workshop with a workbench, and so we have an image of this too, potting station here. And they also have the Velvet Belva Pub, which is another cute branding naming opportunity that they took inspiration from her. This is our last one to wrap up our benchmark, but we wanted to focus on Irby. They have so many projects now, and 3 more listed on their website is coming soon. And so this is sort of a catch-all for all of their locations, but we're just so inspired by the way that they approach programming and community building and amenities. They're always geared towards these sort of large metropolitan areas, and their kind of idea or inspiration is to rethink urban living. They have their units strategically designed to optimize space and flow, of course. They come in 3 sizes. They just call them small, medium, and large. Small is studios, medium is 1 bedrooms, and large is 3 bedrooms. And of course, they're heavily focused on the public shared spaces. So these are designed, again, they want to create these sort of like organic opportunities for neighbors to meet and interact. And one thing that they've done is to replace that traditional lobby experience with this sort of like entrance cafe. They always kind of look to have that run by a local chain, and so that it feels a little bit more like rooted in wherever the location is. Some of their locations feature a bodega that sells local beers or produce or items grown from their farm. They actually have 2 of their locations have like a full-on farm. So here's an image of it. So they're actually able to harvest and sell the produce from it. And I'm just skimming because, yep, I think I put it in here. Their location in Staten Island, the urban farm is 4,500 square feet. So that's like a pretty serious like urban farm situation. It's not your little tiny garden plot that's like on the roof. They even have a full-time farmer in residence who manages the farm, runs all of the produce stands. They have gardening workshops for residents. So it's a pretty like full scale event happening. So we definitely want to keep an eye on Irby, especially these 3 coming soon in New Jersey, in Miami, and in DC. So we'll see what they have in store for their newest projects. Well, it's 12:29. We somehow did that in pretty much exactly 30 minutes. Thank you all so much for attending our webinar today. If anyone has any questions, please pop them in the Q&A box, and we will make sure that we reach out to you to answer any questions that you have. Everyone,